Okay. I'm back. I had a false start because I accidentally forgot to save my file, but it's okay. Everything's back to normal. So yeah, let me do this recap again just to explain. We're finishing up this game, and we're on Koko's route. We're playing as Kid. We keep finding hints about Koko on this route existing, but no one believes me because every single time I try to show her, she's a ghost. And strange things are happening where it seems to be that I know things before they happen, like Sarah's name before she introduced herself, or knowing that Sora was an RSD image before she told us, or, knowing that there's a facility below Lemu. It feels like the kid is very smart, or it's as if he's played the game before. Anyway, so hopefully my audio is good, and I'll just continue from where we left off on the last episode. Woohoo! Let's go. Wait, how do I? No, wait, stop. No, cancel. Okay. Okay, it was nighttime. It's like 10 something at night, by the way. But deep below the ocean surface, it was only slightly darker than before. Fortunately, the damage to Lemu hadn't worsened. We had a light dinner, eating the tuna sandwiches that Takeshi had made. I wonder if I could skip this. I can! Yay! I'm gonna be skipping a lot. I think we're gonna play Kick the Can. You know, everyone's favorite game. Anyway, I think I'm just trying to see, like, how the teams say, and I'm just gonna answer here, I see. Okay, skip ahead. Let's get through this game and Kick the Can. Ooh. Okay, this time I'm gonna go with Sarah and Sora. Skip on through. Okay, alright, now I'm the one who has to find the kids, so I'm gonna go to the Lemurian ruins. And I can skip through. Oh, I got her. I got you. So now let's go to the rest area. And I got Takeshi! Woohoo! And now I'm gonna go to the control room. And I'm gonna find Sugumi, who's not even playing. Oh, I landed on Sarah. There was a moment. Okay, so now it's 11:45 p.m. and we're in the infirmary. Alright, I cannot skip this, right? Okay. Deciding to sleep was fine, but where? There were 4 legitimate beds in the dry areas. There was one in the compression chamber along with 2 beds in the examination table in the infirmary. Sugumi was missing and Sora didn't need sleep, so there were exactly 4 of us. Takeshi had been relegated to the compression chamber as a potential danger to the women. Oh, what a cad. You and Sarah had said that they would take the 2 beds since they were vulnerable young women. So I got stuck on the hard examination table. Hey, Kid! Kid, you asleep already? Takeshi was shaking me. I'd wake up even if I were asleep with you shaking me that hard. So which is it, you asleep or awake? Isn't it obvious? I'm sleeping like a log. I closed my eyes. Hey, come on, don't be like that. I can't sleep. Last night you seemed like you were totally fine. But I'm all alone in this tiny little cramped space. It's like being cooped up in a coffin. It makes me feel... It's the same place you were snoring away last night. If you could sleep in a coffin, you could sleep in a cup of coffee. Hey, that almost rhymes or something. Does it? I don't think it does. Coffin and coffee? Coffee has caffeine in it. That wakes you up. So there's no way a normal person could catch a wink in a cup of coffee. But caffeine wouldn't phase a big lunk like that. Takeshi, he'd sleep like a baby. Is that what you were trying to say with that almost rhyme of yours? Stupid. Hey, is that any way to talk to your elders? I'm going to sleep. Hey, come on, KID, stay up with me a little bit. Good night. I turned away from him. Tug, tug, tug. Thud. Takeshi had pulled me off the examination table. Hey, what are you doing? I'll sue you. Come on, take it easy, calm down. Let's have a drink, you know? Man to man. No thanks. My thoughts exactly. Yuck, 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 yuckity yuck. I'm nothing without you, kid. And then... oh. Got a special image of you in the foreground shaking her fist at, like, what looks to be almost a pantsless Takeshi. Oh wait, that's a wrinkle. Okay. Hard to tell. Be quiet! Cut it out, you two. Just go to sleep. You lying in the bed next to me had snapped. She sat upright, a strange light emanating from her. Oh, sorry for causing such a ruckus, m'lady. I walked out of the room with Takeshi's hand pushing me from behind. Hey, for now, why don't we go hit the kiosk and get some beers? Takeshi started walking. I stayed where I was. Is there beer in Limu? I don't think it was for sale, but it was stashed in the back of the fridge. I figure some worker hid it there. But I can't drink beer. Huh? Why not? I stopped and turned around. I'm not old enough. So what? Underage means you can't drink alcohol. It's the law. So you're saying you won't break any law? Yeah. But you ate sandwiches and drank cola, right? And you didn't pay anything. That's because I had to survive. Yuck, yuck, yuck! I bet you're the kind of kid that'll tattle on the kid next to you in class if he's passing notes to his friends. I'm not. You don't know if you are or not because you got no memory. Oh, alright. You can drink cream soda then. Why cream soda? Because you're just a little baby. I'm not a baby. I'm 16. 16, huh? 16. Old enough to lead a whole gang of snot-nosed brats on your own. Stop it. 16 is still underage, but I'm not a kid anymore. I'm still not an adult, but I'm not a kid anymore. That's what I am. Just what about you is more than a kid? Kid. I'm going back to bed. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Right, because you're a big boy, all grown up. Nee. Hey, wait, hold up a second. Kid, you got no memory, right? Right? So, how do you know that you're 16? Because I don't know why. As I mumbled, I unconsciously held out my right hand. I stared absently at my palm. I still didn't have any idea what happened to my finger. There was no doubt that I had said that I was 16, but I couldn't be sure I was right. I wondered if I really was that age, if I could believe my words. Well, whatever. Anyway, it's good that you remembered your age. Proof that you're slowly getting your memory back. 16, huh? So my guess wasn't that far off, huh? Huh? Yesterday I guessed, right? I said you were around 14 or 15. I suppose someone like you could be 16. Could be possible enough. Could be? Could be? What's that supposed to mean? I looked at my arms, my legs, and my whole body as if to check. And lastly, I touched my hands to my face. What? Don't tell me you didn't forget your own face, did you? Face? I put all my power into opening the door. The room had a high ceiling, and I ran towards the mirror of the room's far wall. Bam! My leg caught the bench, and I crashed to the floor. I lifted my head slowly. The mirror was right in front of me, and I was inside it. I looked at me. For some reason, I felt scared all of a sudden. I squeezed my eyes shut and looked down. I willed my legs to stand me up. My knees shook. I stumbled 2 or 3 steps. I put my hand to the locker to keep myself from falling. I tried to walk. It was as if the mirror was sucking me toward it. I put both my hands on the mirror. Both of my eyes were slightly open, but I wasn't able to raise my face yet. I was facing me, and both of us had our hands facing each other. I could only see his body. His legs quivered, his palms shook, making the mirror rattle. I took a breath. My shaking had stopped. At that moment, sound suddenly disappeared. I didn't move. The other me didn't move either. I waited for him to move. I looked up ever so slightly. I saw another world behind his back. A bench laid knocked over, the clothing was scattered everywhere. Someone was standing on the other side of the open door. "Hey, kid! What's up with you, running off like that?" I turned around. Takeshi stood with one hand on the door. A mirror? His voice made me want to look. I turned my eyes around. Inside the massive mirror was the face of some kid I didn't know who was staring back at me. Who is this? Who is this man? Get a special image. What is going on? Who is this man? This isn't anybody. Who the hell is this? Okay. I just want to say, first time I played this through, I think I legit screamed at my screen. I was like, what the fuck? I thought I knew what the hell was going on the whole time, and I was wrong. I was very wrong. Anyway. Okay, so, face of some kid I didn't know was staring back at me. Ah! He screamed as if it were the end of the world. His face contorted in a way that chilled my spine. He clutched his hair with both hands. His body shook, racked with convulsions. What is it? What's going on, kid? He put his fingernails on his cheek and harshly scratched the flesh around his neck. His lower jaw protruded forward, drooping downwards, and his tongue hung out. No, no, no. No, 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 no. What is it? What's wrong? This. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. What's not you? Damn, what am I supposed to do? Like Takeshi doesn't know what to do. No, no, no. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. Just hold on, kid. I'll go get everybody. I didn't know who the me was inside the mirror. It wasn't the face of the kid that I knew. It wasn't the sick color of his skin or the bloodshot eyes or the way his tongue hung limply. His whole appearance was completely different than anything I had in memory of myself. He wasn't me. No, I wasn't him. Who was he? Who in the world was I? The me that was standing there didn't know who I was. Where was the real me? Who are you? I asked him and he asked me, who am I? I asked me and he asked he. It's like a Dr. Seuss poem. My consciousness was fading and I gradually started losing my senses. Who are you? Who am I? Someone whispered into my ear. I didn't know if it was me or him. Who are you? Who am I? My eyes clouded over, and I couldn't see clearly. His body swung back and forth like a pendulum, finally disappearing from my sight, drifting into a pure white darkness. I don't think that pure white is dark, but okay. But it wasn't me or him floating, but both me and him. I lost sight of where I ended and the world began. I lost all my sense of everything, and I had no way to confirm my existence. I just let myself drift, like a baby floating in the womb, dissolving. Do babies dissolve? I don't think that's... I'm pretty sure that's the opposite, but okay. Dissolving. I dissolved into pure white darkness. The pure white darkness becoming me. I was nowhere. The me who was nowhere was everywhere. So where was the real me? Who are you? Who am I? And that whispering voice disappeared, swallowed by the dark light. Ooh! We just saw on screen a little zip animation that we should remember from the beginning when we had to choose between Kid and Takeshi. Anyway, at this point, my box is gray. My text box. And things are gonna get a little weird anyway, so I think at this point I'm reading as maybe the new person? Anyway. Oh, my cat just ran by. Anyway. In that world where the boundaries between light and shadow blended, there was no sound. The motion of white waves of darkness surged forward, permeating my skin and shaking my whole body. Something, like a hard shell beginning to resonate and emit a black light from inside. There was no sign that the waves would stop. Rather, they seemed to be getting stronger and stronger. A crack ran down the outer husk. It began to spread like strands of a web and soon covered the entire shell. Pieces began to fall away, dropping to the floor. What I got, a glimpse of through the fragmented shell, was dazzling. The particles of light filling that white space began to converge on each other. The light formed a vague image, an image that came flying into view, a fragment of a scene familiar to me. Oh, and it zipped back. Okay. So I think this is kids' color still. Anyway, I woke up in the middle of the conference room. Me? Why did I feel such an unease towards me? If you could... Oh wait, maybe this is Takeshi. I always forget whose color is who. I should know this, but I don't know off the top of my head now. I think green might be Takeshi and blue is the kid. I think we were just blue. I wish they weren't so like similarly colored. That would help. Anyway, if you stared at something for a long time, it could seem to warp and change. The unnaturalness I felt right when it seemed a lot like that phenomenon, as though I was taking something for granted that I shouldn't. It was probably just my mind playing tricks on me. And not thinking any more of it, I shook Koko's shoulder. She was asleep next to me, head down on the table. Yes, we're Takeshi. Hey, get up, it's morning. Rubbing her eyes, Koko got up slowly.
Oh, good morning, Oni-chan.
Huh? Oni-chan? Oh, I see. You have a brother, Koko, but I'm not your brother.
Oh, no, Oni-chan.
We need to get ready, or we'll be late for school. Yes, so, if you guys remember, Koko was in Takeshi's playthrough, but never in Kid's playthrough. So right now, being Takeshi, we have Koko, who is alive and not a ghost. Anyway. Okay, my cat is... If you hear some scuffling in the back, it's because my cat is playing a lot, but it's cute. Anyway, Koko is still half in dreamland. Late for school? What are you talking about?
Well, that's just the setting it is.
Listen. Stop messing around. We're gonna go eat.
Okay, Take-pyong.
When Koko and I made it to the kiosk, everyone had gathered there. Tsugumi, Sora, you, and the kid, all of them. I made my way into the submarine and opened up the refrigerator. Oh, I spotted sausages hidden in the back. That's right, Takeshi was obsessed with those sausages. I decided to make everyone hot dogs. Soon after I'd made breakfast for everyone, I leaned over the counter and said, "Alright, whoever wants to eat, get in line." I wonder if this is skippable. It is! Okay, so yeah, everybody's eating sausages now. Alright. The three of them took their hot dogs and walked a short distance from the stand, laughing. And as if they had traded places, Tsugumi came up. What just happened? Everyone was eating hot dogs. Hey, I've got one for you too. Tsugumi took it without a word of thanks and went to her corner of the room. Sora was talking with the kid. I was a bit sad that I couldn't make anything for her. Still leaning over, I greedily stuffed my own hot dog into my mouth and watched everyone from where I was. It was May 3rd. I've been trapped 3 days since we've been trapped. It's been 3 days since we've been trapped. But everyone was bright and showed no feeling of fatigue or sadness, especially Koko. It was hard to believe that she had suffered so much that first night. For no reason, Koko was playing with Pee-Pee. That's right, Pee-Pee. Oh my god, Pee-Pee. Okay. Playing with Pee-Pee's tail. Alright, looking at her smiling face, I suddenly remembered how we had bumped into each other again. And after I got her out of the elevator, I seemed to remember. Oh, there she is. Special image of her stuck in the elevator. Ah!
You're that guy from before.
You're that girl from before. The girl and I pointed at each other and froze. Woof! I spotted the scruffy face of the dog circling around her feet. Popo.
His name's not Popo. This little guy's name is Pee-Pee and my name's Koko. Try not to mix them up, okay?
But what are you doing here?
Well, what do you expect me to say to that? I was trying to go to all the lower levels and all of a sudden this elevator stopped and...
Isn't it an escalator? It isn't an escalator, it's an elevator. I must have read that wrong.
Oh, oops. I mean elevator, okay?
It's not evelator, it's elevator. I keep fucking up baby talk. I can't do baby talk, I'm sorry. If you're not moving on a moving staircase, that's called if you're on a moving staircase, that's called an escalator. And if you're in a box that goes up and down, that's an elevator. Try not to mix them up.
Does it really matter? Anyway, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I was trapped in this box.
Really?
Hey. I'd kind of like to get out of here soon.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that and got down on my stomach from atop the elevator. I leaned down from the small hole and stuck my hand out to Coco.
Please help Pee-Pee first.
Coco and Pee-Pee held Pee-Pee up to me, stretching as far as she could to make him reach. I grabbed onto Pee-Pee's front legs and pulled him out from the hole in the ceiling. Okay, well, it's your turn next, Coco. I stuck my hand out again.
Ah!
Coco jumped over and over, reaching out for my hand, but either she was too short or just couldn't jump because she didn't even reach my fingertips. I can't do that. She's still trying to get up there. Alright.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Next, I looked over to where Sora was. She was standing next to the kid and talking with Tsugumi about something. I couldn't hear what they were talking about from where I was. Akanagasaki Sora. It was hard to believe that she was only an illusion generated by an RSD. I stared at her again from a distance. I remembered what we had talked about the day before.
By the way, Kuronari-san, have you seen the moon?
Yeah, are you kidding?
Well now, let's say that you've seen a full moon. And let's say that when you closed your eyes, do you think that the moon would still be there?
That's right. This is what happened in Kids playthrough recently. I'm gonna skip through because we know what happened here. Anyway, her existence disappeared when I closed my eyes, but I felt that Sora was just as much as, no, maybe even more human warmth and caring than the rest of us. Then again, there was Tsugumi's coldness. I guess you're not as dumb as you look. I think I can skip this. This is just them talking about how Tsugumi is not great. I couldn't forget the cold smile that she had on her face as she said those words. I was thinking that and looking at her. I wasn't sure if I could feel my gaze, but she turned to look over at me. And for some reason, I felt like she could see what I was thinking, and I avoided her eyes. The next person to jump into my field of view was Yu. Yu had finished eating her hot dog, and she was dancing in hand with Coco. I wondered if it was some kind of folk dance. She smiled so widely that it seemed like her face might split, and she laughed boisterously. Her eyes shone so brightly, but I knew there was a sad past hidden behind those eyes. So, us being Takeshi, I guess we're just not going to cover at all, like, what happened with Kid looking at himself and being like, who the hell's that? Anyway. Her father had disappeared 17 years earlier. I thought about the talk that we had with you the day before. Maybe the reason she carried that album around with her was so that she wanted something to connect with her to the memories of her father. I'd bumped into Yu and Coco in the front of the Lemurian ruins the previous day, May 2nd. In the palm of Yu's hand was some kind of journal or notebook. She had it opened and was staring at a page. Coco was standing next to her, peering over at her shoulder. "What you looking at?"
Oh, we were looking at these pictures.
Pictures? Do you want to see them? Sure. Okay, I'll show you. What you handed over to me was neither a journal nor notebook, but a single file, one small enough to fit in the palm of my hand. It was already open and it had several pictures taken from an instant camera stuffed between the pages. They were baby pictures. It can't be. Your baby? No, stupid! I'm 18, okay? And I'm single. Single! Yeah, right. Which means that this baby is...
It's Nakyu, dummy. These are from when Nakyu was a little bitty baby.
I hate reading, Coco. Anyway. Something wrong with that? I mean, they're adorable, right? My baby pictures?
And of course the fact that I'm cute hasn't changed a bit, you know. Oh, and can you hand those back?
And saying that, you snatched the file out of my hands.
This picture is from when I dressed up in a kimono as a kid. And this is where I was head cheerleader for an athletics event at school. Oh, and this is from my first day of middle school.
You continued to flip through the pages.
And here's one that I took at the talent show my freshman year in high school. There's Keiko, Min Min, Betty, Chin-chan,
Beef Yamamoto.
Oh, and I couldn't forget my teacher, right? And the fireworks festival, and here's my trip to the hot springs. Oh, and here's that time that I stayed at Ami-chan's. And here we have, what is this? Oh, that's right, that's when we sneaked into the school that one night. And of course, the graduation ceremony. There was that one, here it is. It's hideous, right? I'd been crying and crying. So much of Yu's history was in there. Smiling faces, sad faces, silly faces, surprised faces, even shy faces. There were girlfriends, boyfriends, teachers, people, afternoons, nights, good times, and hard times. And it went without saying, but shown in those photos were people that I didn't know, places that I didn't know, and a you that I didn't know. Oh, and you looked like she had no intention of stopping, so I rushed to get a word in. You, so what is this? Your life history album or something? A history album? Well, I've never called it that before. But if I had to label it, I guess you could call it that.
So why are you carrying that around with you?
Huh? Why do you need to ask? Take-pyeon, don't you know? All girls carry around things like this. It's normal.
You don't say.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
Well, all the girls I know carry them around.
I wonder what everyone is doing right about now. You murmured softly to herself as she flipped through the pages.
Do any of these people ever worry about me? Oh yeah. Do you live with your mom and dad, Take-pyeon? Or do you live by yourself?
Koko threw the question at me abruptly. Before answering, I tossed the question back. How about you, Koko? You're probably still living with your parents, aren't you?
Well, I'm 14, aren't I? Of course I am.
She's 14. Why? I'm spinning. Anyway. Oh well.
Right now my dad isn't at home, but...
Huh? Why not?
Because he's on a business trip, that's why.
Oh, I see. And what about you? You. Are you living with your parents, or... Oh, duh, why did I ask that? I'd realized it'd been a mistake to ask that. Yu's dad was missing, but it didn't seem like she cared one way or another. I'm living with my mom. I know, but I doubt that she's really worried about me. That's just the kind of person she is, my mom. What do you mean?
I guess you could call her a positive thinker. She isn't the type to really let herself get caught up in things. She doesn't care if I stay out all night. I've been living with her for 18 years, but she's never raised her voice at me once. I grew up pretty much doing whatever I wanted. I suppose that's why it turned out the way I did.
You showed me a page of her album that she had turned to. There was you putting the hurt on some wrestler, and some guy that looked like a bulky jock of sorts. Coming out of my reverie, I noticed the scene had changed a bit. You and the kid had taken off somewhere. Maybe they had gone to the rest area next door. It had only been 2 days, and so much has happened. Just being trapped here is an unusual state of affairs. As I said those words to myself without thinking, just then, ba-boom! And it's 6:43 a.m. Suddenly, a low metallic sound reverberated through the complex. It was a dull, muffled sound. What is that? This whole place just shook a little.
Sora-san! Sora-san!
Koko ran over to Sora. Pee-Pee was clutched to her chest. Koko was hugging him so hard he seemed to about rupture.
Hey, did something happen just now? There was an awful sound. One of the shafts that supports the floor had started to warp. It appears that the ocean currents may have caused it.
How dangerous are we talking here?
Well, it should be within the margin of error, but... No, wait a second. There is an anomaly in one of the pressure regulating pipes in Swiderstock's warehouse.
What are the pressure regulating pipes?
Those are the pipelines responsible for adjusting the pressure inside the multi-layered bulkheads compromising Lemu. If any of them should rupture for whatever reason, I am incapable of repairing them. The anomaly is only slight, so you shouldn't have to hurry, but I think it would be best if somebody goes to check on it. Would you please go check for me?
Sure, leave it to me. I'll go too. Tsugumi, are you sure? Well, if we're going to fix something, we need tools, right? I know my way around a workshop. Alright, let's go.
I'll help too.
Woof! Okay, you can come too, Koko. By the way, does anyone know where you and the kid went?
Tanaka-san and Kid-san are in the security office.
What the heck are they doing there?
They are trying to make contact with Lemu.
With Lemu? What am I thinking? I've got other things to worry about. Alright, the three of us are going to the warehouse. Sora, give you and the kid an update on the situation, will you?
Understood.
We opened up the door to the storage room and to find the floor covered with water. I think we can maybe skip this? Yeah. This is all that stuff that we did before where, like, I think at this point maybe the pipe thing happens. Anyway. Wah! My leg got caught in a jet of muddy water and I lost my balance. I reached out to grab something. I caught onto a stack of crates in the old containers laying nearby. Groan. It made an ominous sound. My body draped awkwardly over the containers. I lifted my gaze. The top of the stack was wobbling precariously. I looked over to Tsugumi. Our eyes met. She was frozen in place, holding her breath. I shot a glance over to Koko. She had her back turned to me and was grabbing onto a pipe. I looked at the ceiling again. It all happened in an instant. The containers, having lost their balance, started to rain down. Chunks of metal, rusted pipes, thick iron cylinders. There was no sound. I perceived everything in vivid, slow motion. Countless pieces of metal all pouring down quietly. Although my mind was spinning, my body couldn't catch up. I couldn't talk. I couldn't move. Crashing metal. A raging monster, with its sight fixed on that small frame, pouncing, devouring. All of it headed for... Koko! Koko!
Huh?
R.I.P. Koko. Alright. The sight that flashed before me was a mountain of metal. The old pipes broke apart into thousands of pieces. The containers splintered apart, their sharp corners flashing. I landed in the water. I'd thrown myself out of the way, arms and legs flailing. The pipes in the wall were cracked. They had been damaged from the shock, and out of the cracks water was gushing out. The fallen nearby was... Aha! It's Tsugumi with the pipe in her leg. That sucks. Alright. I think we could skip this, though. We gotta save her. Quick, grab her. Pull her to the infirmary. Let's fix her leg. Koko put her head on my shoulder. I held Koko close and patted her head softly.
She's gonna be okay, right? Right?
Her body trembling, she asked me that over and over. I thought maybe she had been trying not to cry until that moment. Koko, head pressed against my chest, started crying. That's my crying noise. Anyway, she's crying. Anyway. Oh! We zipped back. We had a little line zip thing go back. Now we have blue text. That means that we're the kid right now. Okay. Yeehaw! Okay. Somebody's crying. Was it Sarah? I guess.
Huh?
Kid? Oh, it was me. I was crying, I guess. Oh, because I don't know who I am. That's why I'm question marks. Okay. Kid, what are you crying about? Huh? Did somebody pick on you?
I know, it's Takeshi, isn't it?
I shook my head back and forth.
So it's not you then?
I kept shaking my head.
Alright then, Tsugumi.
Again, I shook my head back and forth.
Huh? Well, it couldn't be Sora.
No, nobody's picking on me. So then why are you crying? It's... I was looking wildly around in all directions. We were in front of the emergency room. Sarah was standing right in front of me, but I couldn't see anyone else. I said nothing, but ran into the room. No one was there. She wasn't lying on the examination table. Hey, why'd you run away? Sarah's eyebrows were raised questioningly. I didn't run away. I just wanted to check something. That's all. What? I stood to the side of the table and slid my hand across its surface. There was no warmth. Oh, so now Kid is seeing the images from Takeshi's play and is just like, why isn't Tsugumi on the table? Because she got stabbed in the leg. What's going on? Anyway.
Her femur is fractured, and it looked like it might be a complex fracture. And the artery is severed. She'll need sutures. I'll do my best. Do we have anesthetic? I'll get it ready. The laser scalpel, forceps, and sutures, everything we need is already in the room. Kurodari, you're in the way.
All those voices jumped back into my head. Voices. I twisted my head and turned, looking around inside the emergency room, slowly looking. The noise from before seemed like a dream. Seemed? What am I thinking? It was only a dream. Just a dream.
Hey, tell me.
What did you want to check? I looked straight into Sarah's eyes and answered. I wanted to see if it was real or a dream.
What?
I had a terrible dream. What about? Tsugumi hurt her leg really badly. There was flooding in the storage area, and when we went to go fix it, a big chunk of metal fell on her. And then Tsugumi, her leg got trapped by the metal. And she had this huge gash on her right thigh. I could see the yellow of her fat, the red color of her muscle, and the white of her bone. Her blood vessels, lymph nodes, even nerve endings were all hanging out and pulsating like rubber tubes. The whole area was covered in a sea of blood. Ew! It makes me feel sick just hearing about it. How can you talk about that kind of dream so calmly? Well, it's not as if I wanted to see it. So that's why you decided to run in here all of a sudden. Well, I guess it's possible that you'd start bawling your head off after seeing a dream like that. Bawling? I was crying? Of course you were, like a hysteric 3-year-old. That's when I realized. On my cheeks and chin, there was something that felt cold. There was a small drop of moisture sparkling on my eyelash. I hurriedly wiped away my tears. So I had been crying. It had all happened while I was sleeping, so I had no idea I'd been crying.
Hey, kid?
Something bothers me. You just said the warehouse started flooding, right? Yeah.
That actually happened.
What?
When you were sleeping, a pipe burst in the storage room and the water started flooding in.
When I was sleeping? What was that supposed to mean? I couldn't fully grasp what was going on from what I'd heard. My mind froze. But don't worry, okay? I got it fixed without any hitches. What about Tsugumi? I didn't think it was possible, but I asked anyway. She's fine, of course. She did most of the repairing. Really? For some reason, I felt relieved. I wondered if it was because my dream had been so real. No, wait. Dream? Why would I have a dream about the warehouse flooding? I was sleeping. As though she had read my thoughts, Sarah said. But still, it's kind of strange, you know? You didn't have an out-of-body experience, did you? She said as if she was making fun of me. But honestly, Sarah didn't take the possibility seriously. My mind was turning slowly, but hadn't started working normally again. Something was preventing me from thinking. Out-of-body experience. If I could do that, I could peep down girls' underwear all I wanted. He is a teenage boy, I suppose. Okay. I made a stab at a joke. Woo! This game, guys. The fact that I could do so surprised me somewhat. Moron. She smacked me. Even if you could look up someone's skirt, you don't look down people's underwear. Smacks him again. Sarah whacked me on the head a couple of times. Thinking the whole situation odd, I started to laugh.
But you seem like you're doing better. I was really worried last night that you were going to die or something. But you seem fine just now. What? You don't remember? You fell over and were foaming at the mouth. What? Yeah, you were flailing around on the ground like an upside-down crab. Snip, snip. By the time Takeshi called us all together, you were already like that. So all we could do was pick you up and carry you into this infirmary. Got it? I got it. You probably don't remember, but it was really intense. You really had us worried there. Sarah slapped me gently on the cheek. My head turned to the side with force, and from that position I asked, "Hey, where was I passed out?" "In the changing room in front of the mirror." The changing room. It was a rectangular room that stuck in the back wall was a large mirror. The bench had been returned to its original position, and I walked up to the mirror. It's me again. It's me, the weird blonde boy. I didn't recognize my face. I didn't recognize that kid. I touched my eyebrow with my right hand. He touched his eyebrow with his left hand. A-E-I-O-U. The sounds that I uttered came through my ears. The kid in the mirror mouthed the exact same words, but of course I couldn't hear his voice. I reached out my left hand to touch him. He put out his right hand and did the same thing. My nails hit the hard surfaces of the glass with a click, but I couldn't reach him. Looking closely, I could see a face floating over his left shoulder. 2 pairs of eyes stared intensely at me. It had to be an evil spirit. Maybe he was being possessed. That's so sad. He'd been taken over by a demon. And as soon as I said that to myself, I realized that he was looking at me. What? I'm being possessed? Hey. Ah, Sarah! I jumped back 3 meters away, bending backwards as I leaped. When did you get here? 'Tis a simple thing to conceal the pitter-patter of my steps. Really? Apparently, the person that had been looking over my shoulder was Sarah. Well, you just took off without saying anything. So you went and followed me? Yeah. Sarah had grabbed onto her tied up hair with both hands and was swinging back and forth. So what's with the mirror? She pointed at the mirror with the tip of her hair. Well, what? I pulled Sarah by the arm to stand in front of the mirror. Oh, another special image with a spooky ghost behind me. Both of the images were reflected on the mirror's surface. Left and right sides of her face were reflected back in reverse, but there was no mistaking it was her. My face, on the other hand. Hey, who's that reflected in the mirror? Huh? I don't understand the question. This kid standing next to you. Who is he? Oh, we've started with this again, huh? Come on, I'm being serious. Is this really my face? Well, if it isn't your face, whose face is it? I guess you're right. I knew the answer, but I still needed to check. That kid was me. The face reflected in the mirror was mine. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But I'm also not fine. Well, which is it? A pouting Sarah was in the mirror. I looked at her figure in the reflection and she looked back at me. Our gazes intersected and overlapped at the same space and the same time. I couldn't remember my own face. I couldn't remember, and I still can't remember it. Of course, I understand that the person reflected in the mirror is me, but how can I say it? It doesn't feel real. I see. That's why I passed out in front of the mirror last night. The face reflecting back at me in the mirror felt like someone else, someone I didn't know. But that shouldn't be enough to make you foam at the mouth, don't you think? I mean, if you looked in the mirror and were suddenly hopelessly ugly, even I would faint, but your face isn't that bad. I think that you'd be relieved and think, I've got a pretty nice looking face. Sarah glanced at the mirror and took a good look at my face. I mean, if I had to say one way or the other, I like your face. That said, Sarah pointed to the tip of her hair at me. Do you want to know why? I think you look a little like me. I look like you?
I stared intently at Sarah's face. You don't think so? Suddenly, a vast whirling pattern came into mind. It spun around and around and around, paralyzing my ability to think. I don't think so? It took all my will just to mumble that. Really? I think her eyes look the same. Hey, why are you making such a sour face? I'm giving you a compliment. Or maybe, I guess you could say that I'm giving myself a compliment. Sarah started smiling shyly, and then all of a sudden she tickled my nose with the tip of her hair. Hey, what are you doing? I jumped back 3 meters away, bending backwards as I leaped. Sarah smiled mischievously. The smell of her hair seeped into my mind. It was the smell somehow so familiar, almost animal and private. Ew. Gross. 7:58 a.m. The conference room. I was sitting in my chair, stuffing my mouth with a tuna witch sand. What? Tuna witch sand. I guess we'll figure that out. This is nuts, you guys. I don't know. I'm trying to remember from when I played this originally. I cannot tell if Sarah is trying to imply that we're her brother, but also is like weirdly flirting with her brother. And like this game, I wouldn't put it past it to have that in here. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. That was uncomfortable at best. Anyway, I was sitting in a chair, stuffing my mouth with tuna witch sand. I'd grown bored of tuna sandwiches, so I invented my own version, a slice of bread between 2 pieces of meat. I would do that. I would eat that, probably. I think I want McDonald's now. Mc-filet. It was definitely a needed change of pace. Sarah was sitting directly in front of me. What the fuck? Okay, I forgot about this special image. It's just Sarah eating a whole head of lettuce with some cabbage on it. I mean, ketchup. I wouldn't eat that. And I really like both of those food items. I would not eat that though. Sarah was eating straight from a head of lettuce with nothing but ketchup as a topping. Are we dying? Is this like, are we having a seizure? What's happening here? Muttering in a voice so small I could barely hear it, she was saying, I'm not getting enough vegetables. I'm just not getting enough vegetables. Okay, this is very relatable. I should be eating more vegetables in my life. Anyway. Say, where did everyone else run off to? With ketchup smeared on her lips, Sarah answered me. Sora's in the control room and Naki's in the security office. As for Takeshi, I saw him riding the merry-go-round goofing off by himself. Oh, he's probably riding with Sora, but only you can see him. As for Tsugumi, she's missing as usual. Now that the repairs on the warehouse are finished, I guess everybody's taking a breather. So, what do you have planned next, Sarah? Nothing special, really. Maybe I'll just sit here, wait to be rescued while I eat this lettuce. Okay, Sarah. I think the isolation is getting to everybody. Sarah kept munching the lettuce, making crunching sound as she bit into the core. By the way, Sarah, what were you doing until now? Watching over you, kid. Watching over me? Last night, after we carried you to the infirmary, we took turns watching you. We were worried that you might suddenly go on a rampage or something, so we took every precaution. And until about a minute ago, it was my turn to watch. Except you up and disappeared the split second I turned my back. I wondered what was going on and left the infirmary to find you when you found me crying. Yeah, that's right. Finishing off my sandwich, I reached over to the lettuce in Sarah's hands and ripped off a leaf. Using my index finger, I wiped off some of the excess ketchup and smeared around Sarah's mouth, and I dabbed it on my lettuce and ate it. Ew! What should I do next? You definitely should not be doing that, ever. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, I wouldn't even do that to my kid. No, don't do that. I muttered to myself. Just sitting here is getting boring. Alright. Let's make a choice between going to see you in the security office or going to the warehouse with Sarah. Well, since I'm eating ketchup off her face, I'm gonna go to the warehouse with Sarah and see what other horrible things can happen. Well, I guess I'll take Sarah to visit the warehouse. Had there really been an accident where I had flooded the warehouse? I wanted to go see for myself. Sarah? Yeah? Think you could join me for a little bit? Okay, but do you mind waiting until I'm through my lettuce? Sarah said that with her face still covered in ketchup. Sure. I decided to wait for Sarah to finish her meal, if you want to call it that. While waiting, I asked her a question. So tell me, why ketchup and not dressing? Her answer was straightforward. Because I like tomatoes. They taste like the sun, don't you think? Okay. We need to get off this theme park. We need to get out of here. Inside the warehouse, the air was filled with a sticky, humid smell, and the floor was covered with enough water to just cover our shoes. Around the room lay pipes, many of which looked like they had been recently welded to repair damage. So there really was some kind of flooding here. Huh? Didn't you believe me when I told you? Of course I believed you, but there's a difference between hearing something and seeing it for yourself. I mean, there's way more impact. Impact? You know, the impact from realizing I saw all of this in a dream. Like a premonition. Well, I don't know if I would really call it a premonition or not, but... I mean, Tsugumi didn't get hurt, right? Yeah. And besides... I said that and stopped, sweeping my eyes across the room. The scene was almost exactly as I had dreamed it, but there was one thing different. There had been a pile of scrap material stacked high, but it was stacked on the floor. In my dream, the warehouse was completely submerged in water, but it looks like here, everything seems fine. I wonder if you could still call it a premonition. Beats me, I have no idea about things like that. Hey Sarah, was the warehouse arranged like this from the start? Huh? See those containers and metal pipes lined up over there? I asked her while pointing to the rows of scrap metal. Were those stacked up all in one tall pile before? You can't expect me to remember all those details. Yeah, I guess you're right. Except for that one point, nothing else seemed out of place. However, I was amazed at how calm I felt while analyzing the situation. Premonitions, the phantom girl, the mirror affair, amnesia. Considering the countless number of strange things I had experienced, I was surprisingly calm. Not thinking of such strange events as strange was in itself strange. I was just desensitized to everything. Or maybe I just had never been the type to think too deeply about things. I don't know why, but I felt fine about the situation. I walked in a loop around the entire warehouse and returned to where I started, only to find Sarah was gone. And at that moment, I heard a sound. Bang, 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 like something pounding powerfully against the steel wall. I searched for the origin of the sound. A small door suddenly jumped into my field of vision. In front of the door stood Sarah. Sarah! I let out a yell and ran to her. What happened? I asked, standing at Sarah's side. Nothing. What do you mean? Sarah acted like there was nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, she seemed so normal that normal didn't begin to describe it well enough. The bashing sound continued unabated. It was coming from beyond the door. It sounded like someone was throwing their body against the door, and they weren't holding back. It was an explosive force, almost animalistic in intensity. The sound reverberated to the core of my body, rattling my brain. Who is it? Hey, who's there? I yelled at the door. What? Confused, Sarah reached out and touched the door panel. The door opened. Nobody's in there. The room inside was dark. This is that little room that once, I think the kid was trapped in here before. And he thought that it was like a prison cell or something. But even before I could turn on the lights, I could tell that no one was inside. So then, what was that noise just now? I turned around and looked at Sarah. Hey, what is it this time? I have no idea what you've been going on about. What do you mean, no idea? I'm asking what that noise was just now. What noise? A noise, you know? The noise.
The sound of someone ramming into the door, that noise. Ugh, I'm tired. What? No, really, I'm tired of putting up with this kind of thing. Sarah said that to me with a scornful look on her face. What are you talking about? That's exactly what I want to ask you. What are you talking about? First you knew my name, and then you predict the future, and then you see little girls who aren't there, and then you look in the mirror and you think you're a different person. Now you're hearing sounds that aren't even there. I'm sorry, but I just can't keep putting up with this. Hearing sounds that aren't there? You mean you couldn't hear it, Sarah? Ugh, I shouldn't have to answer, but no, I didn't hear it. So why are you standing in front of that door? Like I'd been saying, no particular reason. I was just wondering what's beyond it, that's all. Are you serious? Why would I lie about something like that? If there was a place on the map that I'd never been to, why wouldn't you want to go there? If there was an unopened treasure box, wouldn't you want to open it? If there was a person in town that lived in that you never talked to before, wouldn't you want to say something to that person? My answer is no. But okay. I see. Sarah's discomfort showed clearly on her face. Her eyes were frightened. So Really, I don't know what came over me. I tried to play it off by laughing. Not thinking of the strange events as strange was becoming not so strange after all. With enough coincidences happened after the other, they stopped being coincidental and started to become unavoidable. What was more, starting to having encountered strange phenomena so often that they seemed like old acquaintances, I started to think that nothing could faze me. What a time to suddenly become philosophical. Spiritual awakening, enlightenment, nirvana. I felt like there was nothing left to be afraid of. My laughing voice reverberated through the room. That really hurts. It seemed to be my laughing only proved to increase Sarah's frustration and doubt in me, but I didn't care. And the look that she gave me, it was like some kind of weirdo, but it didn't bother me either. I began to dance slightly, circling around the room like a Polynesian tribal dancer. That's very specific for somebody who has no memory. Anyway. But it made me dizzy, so I stopped. Out of breath, I leaned against the nearest wall for support, and in front of me I noticed a small square window. From outside the window, a faint moonlight shone in. Huh? Moonlight? Sarah must have noticed the direction of my gaze because she began to walk towards the window. Speaking towards her backside, I said, "Why would there be a window in a place like this?" Huh? Sarah's feet stopped. "This looks like a window to you?" she said as she spun around. "Isn't it a window?" "Because the light..." "Light?" Sarah shuffled backwards and planted her back against the wall. "You just said light, didn't you?" Yeah." "It looks like it's shining light to you?" As if being called by the light, I began to walk towards it. I knocked a few times against the window with my knuckles. I stopped in front of the window, except it wasn't a window at all. It was a steel door buried in the wall. "Hey, will you answer my question? Does it look like a light is shining?" "Yeah, it does." Sarah stood beside me and put her hand on the steel door. I also reached out and placed the flat of my hand on the door, and the door seemed to sizzle with a penetrating heat. Without changing our pose, our eyes met. Sarah started to speak, but hesitated. She opened her lips and tried to try again, but she stammered. Her breathing became rough. She seemed a little agitated. The red light seemed to emanate from her body. "So, why does it look like it's shining?" It was a very innocent, almost naive question. Without answering me, Sarah removed her hand from the door. I removed mine as well. The two faint handprints were left imprinted on the square steel door. "Kid, can you see this?" Muttering, Sarah gently removed something from her pocket. Shik! A flame appeared. The whole scene changed in an instant as Sarah's face lit up in red. I realized what Sarah had taken out was a pendant and a lighter. Without saying a word, Sarah brought the flame and the pendant in front of my eyes. Inside the pendant floated a holographic image of a man I've never seen before. As we know from previous playthrough,
This is the way that we know that they're siblings. Anyway.
Who is this? When I asked that, Sarah's hand began to quiver. The flame shook. The large shadow that projected on the wall flickered as well. So, you can see it too? Sarah shut the lighter. Kid, the other day, when Nakiu tried to open the door to the generator room, you stopped her, right? Yeah. How come? Why did you stop her? Wait, hold on a second. Were you just telling me how tired you were of my premonitions and illusions? Premonitions. So that was a premonition? I can't say. I mean, I really don't know. It's just that I thought that it would be dangerous for her to open the door. Sarah looked at the ceiling. She looked at the square door in the wall and pendant held tightly in her hand and finally slightly upward into my eyes. There was a long silence. Sarah looked deep in thought, or maybe as though she wasn't thinking anything. The only sound was her steady, measured breaths. Eventually, yeah, it couldn't be, right? Sarah took a deep breath and put away the lighter and pendant. We left the room. Sarah took a big stretch. I repeated my question to her. Sarah, whose image was that in the pendant? As she walked towards the exit, she answered, a person from the sun.
Okay, well that was strange. Anyway, it's an hour, so I'm gonna cut it off. This is getting too interesting. Oh no, what's happening? Ugh, sorry, stretching. Cool. Well, that was fun, and I hope that we can find out what's gonna happen next on possibly the last episode. It's like getting to the end, so I'm hoping I can get through this soon. Anyway, thanks for joining. Goodbye.